Hello everybody, this is Roger Jenkins and
Griffin.
Angerman. Yes. And this is our second video that we're making. This is actually Griffin's assignment, so he's going to have a little lesson for us today. I'm not too sure what it's about, but I'm pretty excited. I see the picture that we're using as a background, so that's getting me excited. And once again, hit that subscribe button, because not only are we awesome, but so is your subscription.
Well, first, I'd just like to say before we start this, I'm proud to be on this channel. This is my first video, probably my last video. But let me get on to this project here.
All right, what do you got for us, Griffin?
We got Morgan's Raid today.
All right.
Now let me tell you about Morgan's Raid. This was a planned attack on Indiana at first. So they were going to come up through Kentucky into Indiana, and Morgan was told to not come into Ohio. They told him, do not cross the Ohio River into Ohio. Morgan disobeyed that order, came into Ohio just south of Cincinnati, and started going along the southern border of Ohio, doing this small guerrilla-like raids. The Ohio militia at the time was ill-prepared. They knew of the attack because information at the time got to them through Indiana, but they were ill-prepared and they could not fight back against Morgan and his men, because all the Ohio militiamen were mostly just draft soldiers, and Morgan's men were all battle-hardened soldiers that have been serving for a long time. Now, as they went across the southern border of Ohio, they got attacked by Ohio cavalry, and were actually starting to get pressured on. So they were gonna leave Ohio through West Virginia.
All right, yeah, I'm looking at this right now, and they go into West Virginia, into Buffington Island. They double back really quickly. Like, this makes no sense why they turn back like this. Can you explain that to us, Griffin?
I'm glad you asked this, because as they were taking fire and they went into West Virginia, they crossed the river,
Yeah.
but they crossed the river, and then they instantly got caught by West Virginian armies that were much worse than your Ohio armies to get caught by. So they knew their only hope was to come back into Ohio and try to go straight up the eastern coast.
Now, that looks like that's what they did.
And that's exactly what they did, but by this time they were more or less running. They weren't even raiding at this point. They were just running along and trying to stay alive.
Now, by raiding, were they going into people's homes, or were they just attacking landmarks?
Only private businesses. No homes or people were targeted. Just businesses along the roadsides and anything that can disrupt business in Ohio.
All right.
Now, finally, after, I believe it was just about 2 weeks, they finally caught Morgan. But that's not where the story ends.
Ooh.
They took him in the prison, and they treated him not like a prisoner of war, but as a traitor. So they shaved his head, and most of his men got the same treatment, but they shaved his head, humiliated him, and put him in a penitentiary. What's fun about this is he escaped, and many of his men escaped, because they put them all in the same prison.
You think this is fun?
It's fun for him. It's fun for Morgan.
It's fun for the whole family.
Well, I'll get to you why Morgan's fun. He likes this, because he digs a tunnel out of the prison, and him and his men escape back to the Confederacy, in which they continue to fight. Morgan dies 1 year later in a battle.
Oh, man.
So, let me tell you what Ohio learned through all this. Ohio and America and the Union learned that most of the states that were western at the time, as this was when Ohio was still a relatively new state and was pretty westward, that they were not protected, they were not prepared, and the Confederacy could do a lot of damage if they came up there again.
Well, yeah, especially if the military decided not to partake in any kind of actions against them, yeah.
Pretty luckily, they didn't ever get the chance, as around this time too, well, not long after this, the Battle of Gettysburg took place, in which, as we all know, the Confederate Army was pushed back and the Union started their offensive, and that marked the end of the Civil War.
Yeah.
Because there was no real chance for the Confederacy to come out of that. But I'd like to see how Morgan disobeyed orders during this raid.
Okay.
Because they weren't even supposed to come into Ohio, because even though Ohio was new, it was still a state. Indiana was not a state, it was just a little territory that the Union had their control over at this time.
Alright. So, what was the final plan? What was the end game for this?
Well, the end game was just a guerrilla-like raid. They weren't...
So just to disrupt?
Just to disrupt.
Okay.
There was no battle, no real battle plan. There's no real effort put in to cause a lasting battle. They were supposed to just get in and out.
Alright. And... Alright. So is that all you have for us today, Griffin?
It is.
Alright. Well, be sure to subscribe this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you later time. Alright, thank you. Bye.